I was asked today a real interesting question. They asked, what is your most valuable daily habit or most valuable part of your morning routine? And I thought about that and I realized, even though I don't consider myself to be like the single most high performance person around or anywhere close to that, I realized there's something that I do almost every day that is incredibly helpful to me that most other people don't do. So I thought I'd share it with you. But before I tell you about mine, I'd love to have you write in the chat, what's yours? Because, hey, I'd love your ideas so that I can adopt them as my own. Maybe then you can adopt mine, I'll adopt yours, and we'll both win. Okay? All right. So here's mine. It's very simple. It takes less than 60 seconds a day, and it makes the whole day better. I simply start my day by writing the 3 most important things that I need to do that day to move me towards achieving my goals. And guess what? I write them on a 3x5 colored card. Now, then the real key to this is I make sure that those 3 things get done that day. Now, some people may say, but there's so many things. But here's the thing that happens. No matter what happens during the day, I get those 3 things done, even if nothing else happens that day. So even if I have to stay over and keep working, even after I've decided not to, which I realize is an important part of planning everything. So I try really, really hard not to have to do that. I make sure those 3 things get done. I call these, big rock tasks. You've all seen the analogy of if you put the big rocks in and then you pour the sand in and everything else around it, then the big rocks get done. Those fit in the day. If you pour in the sand first and try to put the big rocks, they never fit in the jar. Now, some people would say, hey, Don, you're just creating a to-do list. No, I'm not. There's 3 things on that list. The 3 things that are most important to be done to get me towards my goal. That's the real thing. These are not just 3 things that are urgent. Call the dentist never goes on there. Okay. It's the things that are important to get me towards my goal. And so I would say, am I doing a to-do list? Absolutely not. To-do lists. And here's the reason why. To-do lists focus you on getting things done. You're going to cross things off your to-do list. Doing this focuses you on getting the right things done. That's the most important, is you've got to get the right things done to move you towards your goals. Because if you don't, what ends up happening is, when I don't do this, what ends up happening is I can go for days, sometimes weeks when I've gotten lazy and haven't done it, with 0 real progress towards my goals, the real important stuff in my life. Because what ends up happening is when you're doing a to-do list or you don't do a to-do list and you just do the stuff, what ends up happening is all the urgent things get done. But the important things may not ever get done. So I get many things done in my day, but sometimes when I don't create that list, it turns out to be the wrong stuff. So I want to focus on just doing those 3 things that day. Everything else can wait. Okay. Now, would you like me to take this up another step? Show you another level of doing this 3 things? Okay. All right. Here's the next step. Put those 3 things on your calendar. And so you block off between 10 and 11, I'm going to accomplish this one. Between 1 and 3, I'm going to accomplish that one. And between 4 and 5, I'm going to accomplish this other thing. And then that leaves me free to be able to focus on other things, but I'm going to because I know that during that particular time block, I'm going to keep my appointment with myself. I actually do those things during those time blocks. All right. You want another bonus? You want to take this up another step? A rocket propulsionized tip? Okay, here we go. Do a weekly planning and review session. And as part of that, you plan those 3 tasks for each day of the week. Then number 2, you actually create a card for Monday, create a card for Tuesday. You create a card for each day with those 3 things on it. So you've already made the decision. You don't start the day by saying, how's my day going to be today? I'm not feeling very well, so I'm going to choose 3 things that are pretty easy to do. No, you set it that task early before the week even starts and say, here's how my week's going to flow. And yes, you do look at your calendar and you say, okay, Wednesday's going to be a big day. So Wednesday, I may want to have 3 tasks that are maybe less time requirement to get that kind of thing done. But I planned the entire week and actually write those cards for each day of the week. And then I also review my prior week, focusing on the 3 things that are being done each day. And I ask, how can I improve that process? How can I make it easier, better? Then the next step on that weekly meeting, so Saturday, Sunday, whenever it is, take and block out that time for each one of those tasks on your calendar. Why is this important? Because then someone can't come in and schedule a meeting for you on Tuesday for Wednesday that all of a sudden takes out the time to do that thing that you were going to do. You've already got it blocked across your entire week. You're focusing your time on the big rocks. You're focusing your time on getting the stuff that needs to be done. And number 5, the 5th thing you do in that weekly review meeting is decide on your rewards and your deprivation that you're going to give yourself for either accomplishing or not accomplishing those tasks. Now, there's a logical question that happens here, which is this. What happens if you don't complete those 3 things in a day and you planned out the week? What do you do with that thing that you didn't finish? Well, there's a simple answer. You roll uncompleted tasks onto the next day. So the next day, there are now 4 tasks to accomplish. And you say, but Don, if that happens too much, you may have days where you get nothing done except doing your big rocks. And I say, hey, you just had a highly successful day because you're doing the stuff that moves you towards your goals. That weekly planning process can be incredibly powerful in this process. And by the way, the weekly planning thing also relates to the I'm not getting the tasks done. So if you're consistently finding that you never get all those tasks done and you always have a day that has 5 tasks on it or something like that, then you may be overextending in your commitments on the big rocks. And so you may need to, as part of that weekly planning session, dial back the amount of time or more accurately estimate the amount of time it's going to take you to do it. Just remember, if you think it's going to take an hour, it's going to take an hour and a half. And so plan the hour and a half right from the beginning. And then if you complete it in an hour, you got bonus time. You can go work on something else. But always over plan the time and other requirements to get it done, time and energy requirements. Okay. Now there's one more remaining question in this process. What about all that other stuff? I mean, you got to call the dentist at some point. I know some people never do, but you do need to do those other tasks that are urgent, but not important. You got to do them. Okay. Here's what I do. I create a separate card just for those things. For me, it's usually a weekly card. And so here's a card for Monday, here's a card for Tuesday, here's a card for Wednesday. And then I have this other card that's everything else that's got to get done. And so what I do is I work on them after the big rocks are done. Or when I look at my calendar, I go, oh, I got a meeting in 10 minutes and I haven't got time to work on a big rock project. Okay, pull out that other card. Oh, I can call my dentist during that 10 minutes. And there you go. You get it done and you go off. Okay. So what this does is it focuses you on those 3 big tasks each day. And most people can get 3 big tasks done in a day, depending on how they plan the division of their big tasks. So be careful. If you're choosing big tasks that each one of them is going to take 5 hours, you're not going to get 3 5-hour things done in a day. You need to chunk it down to a smaller chunk for that day. Maybe you're going to work on 3 tasks that combined end up getting that 5-hour task done. So You got to be wise. This is what we use your weekly planning to do, is to reevaluate, see how you're doing in this process. But when you focus on those three things every day, what ends up happening is you're always getting the important stuff done. How many times have I said that on this? So what's your thoughts? Do you think this would work for you? Do you do it already? What improvements can you see in what I'm talking about? Because I'm always looking to improve. Let me know in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.